I think it a little presumptuous for an American to talk to Britain today. During the past several months, most of my American colleagues in Fleet Street and I have become a little tired of hearing Americans making speeches to Britain. We would like to see more action and hear fewer speeches. So instead of speaking to Britain, I would like to speak to a man I knew in Berlin a few years ago, a man named Dr. Paul Joseph Goebbels. Earlier today, I cabled him, asking him to listen. We all get a great deal of innocent amusement from the broadcasts sent to us from the propaganda ministry, presided over by the good doctor. I think it only fitting that one of us return the compliment. Are you listening, Dr. Goebbels? Ah, good. Dear Doctor, if anyone else happens to be eavesdropping, it is sheer coincidence. I am sending this message direct to you, Doctor. I want to give you a report about Britain. I think your agents here and in America have done a bad job, Doctor. Let me tell you the truth about this country. We haven't had much cause for laughter these past few weeks here in London, Doctor. The sinking of the Hood was a shock that stunned England. That hurt, Doctor. Then came the bad news of Crete, nonetheless sad because it was expected. There were other reverses. No, Doctor, we haven't had many laughs here lately. And then, Doctor, you and Mr. H finally gave us something to laugh about. I mean, of course, your so-called peace proposals 2 weeks ago, which received so much publicity in America. It was a clever stunt, Doctor, but it just didn't come off. You had everything in your favor, too. To begin with, there was Hess. Hess came here, and he had the good sense to land in the most beautiful part of Scotland. Then our American ambassador, Mr. Wynant, left for America. You very cleverly made capital out of that. You said in your broadcast that Hess had come here with peace proposals and that Mr. Wynant had hurried to Washington to put them before our president. Really, Dr. Goebbels, we Americans here in London were a bit annoyed when you coupled the name of Rudolf Hess with that of John Wynant. Hess is a rat who left the sinking ship. Here in London, we are becoming convinced that John Wynant is a great man. He didn't go back to America with any peace proposals, Doctor. He merely went to make a report to his boss, the President of the United States. And now he's back here on the job. Don't think too harshly of Hess. From your point of view, he's all right, Doctor. I think he's still an unrepentant Nazi. He's still a member of your gang. He tried to play God, Doctor. Only a fool would attempt that. I'll bet he did come here with peace proposals. He was furious because he was treated as just another prisoner of war. Maybe he thought that he could remain here a couple of days and then be sent back. I might add, Doctor, that he is being treated very well. So are his fellow prisoners. There are several thousand of them over here now, Doctor. I must say that the British treat your visiting German pilots very well indeed, Doctor. A lot of us in London think that they are treating Hess too well. We American correspondents had what we thought to be a good idea about Hess. We thought that he should be returned to you. We thought that he should be dropped by parachute over Germany. And we American correspondents wanted the job of folding that parachute. But don't get me wrong, Doctor. We're just neutral reporters. But to get back to your peace proposals, of course England wants peace. That's what England is fighting for. The aim of every war is peace. But, Doctor, England wants the kind of peace that you people don't seem to understand. There are 44 million people on Churchill's Island, Doctor. Realize one thing. These 44 million people will die rather than submit to the kind of peace you want. That's how they feel here, Doctor. No one on this island is afraid to die. I think you'll have to kill the whole 44 million of them before you can make peace on your terms. Not long ago, one of your radio stooges asked, what are Britain's war aims? That's easy to answer, Doctor. 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister made a speech in Parliament here. One member after another got to his feet to criticize the conduct of the war. The Prime Minister had to answer every bit of criticism. That's the answer to your stooge's question, Doctor. A little thing called free speech. The right to criticize. Can you imagine, Doctor, anyone getting up in the Reichstag to criticize your government? I once knew a man who did that. His name was Karl von Ossietzky, a brilliant liberal who hated war. That was all. 6 months later, I visited him in a concentration camp at Sachsenhausen. The guards let me say a few words to him. I asked if there was anything I could send him from Berlin. He said, yes, a book. What book? I asked him, and he answered bitterly, The History of Germany During the Dark Ages. A year later, they awarded Karl von Ossietzky the Nobel Peace Prize. He received it in a hospital. He had fallen into the grip of tuberculosis while in your concentration camp. He was very, very ill then. One of my colleagues, H.R. Knickerbocker, was allowed to visit him. I heard great news from the doctors today, von Ossietzky said, smiling happily. Ah, then you were recovering, Karl, Knickerbocker asked. No, von Ossietzky smiled. It is much better news than that. The doctors told me that there is no hope, that I will be dead within a month. And as you know, Dr. Goebbels, he was dead within a month. Now, there's another British war aim. Britain and America can conceive of people who are afraid of death, but they cannot conceive of people within their borders who are afraid of life. Under democratic rule, no one need fear life. No one need fear. Things have changed here, Doctor, during the past few months. Last fall, when slap-happy Herman's little men came over to drop their bombs, Britain took a beating. After one of your nightly blitzes, people would come out of the shelters, shake the night out of their eyes, shrug their shoulders, and say complacently, we can take it. It's different now, Doctor. When slap-happy Herman's little men come over now, the people of Britain no longer take their medicine with complacency. Today, the people of Britain are giving it, not taking it. If you could be here during a bad blitz, Doctor, you'd see what I mean. Each man and woman fights back as best he or she can. No matter how hard the going, the civilian roof spotters, fire watchers, air wardens, firemen never desert their post. The civilians of England have inherited a legacy from those who died at Dunkirk, from those who fell at Crete, a legacy of active courage, Doctor. People in Britain no longer feel that they are on the defensive. Every serviceman, every civilian has taken his cue from the aggressive and magnificent Prime Minister. Destiny put Winston Churchill at the head of this nation, Doctor. He is not only the leader of the people, he reflects their views. His aggressiveness, his contempt for your kind of civilization is that of the people of England. You've heard about the RAF, Doctor. I thought so. Have you heard about the RAF night fighters? Have you heard about the lads who welcome moonlit nights? These boys with the look of eagles in their eyes? These boys who fly even higher and faster than the eagles? I spent a night with them last night, Doctor. It was a night of stars. The moon wore a golden gown. There was a time when we hated and feared a night that was drenched with soft golden light. It's different now, Doctor. On a night like that, the RAF now takes the aggressive and fights back. Not only the bombers, but the night fighters with their amazing eyes. One hates to spoil the Sabbath, Doctor, with stories of death. The Sabbath was dedicated to life, to the everlasting life which my country and England believe in, the life that your country denies. For that night, Doctor, many of your planes and pilots stayed in England. I saw them land in England, Doctor, not voluntarily, mind you, but aided and abetted by the guns and courage of the RAF night pilots. The front line is no longer London. It is no longer Dover. Today, the RAF has pushed the front line to northern France. You know, Doctor, as well as I do, that the RAF has downed 109 of Slap-Happy Herman's beautiful aircraft during the past week, all over territory occupied by you. Yes, Doctor, Britain is no longer taking it. She is lashing out now, and her blows become stronger as her lifeline to Canada and to America becomes stronger and less vulnerable. Doctor, I live with the civilians of Britain, the People's Army of Britain. They are aroused now as they haven't been aroused in the history of this empire. It took them a long while to awake. It took my country a long while to awake, too. About 100 years ago, the great Bismarck was asked, what was the most important development in modern history? The great warlord said, unguardedly and disgruntledly, the fact that North America still speaks English. Bismarck was right. North America still speaks English, the language of free men. And my country believes with England, and has not been backward lately about showing its belief that they cannot live in peace and in Christian unity so long as your kind of pagan philosophy dominates half the world. England and America have only one difference of opinion. In America, we drive our cars on the right side of the road. Here in England, people drive on the left side. The road we are going to travel together is a broad one, the road to Berlin. Britain will take the left side of the road. America will take the right. And we'll go swinging along together, side by side. And no matter how hard the road is, or how long it is, we know that eventually it will bring us together to Berlin, Doctor. Keep listening to these Sunday night programs, Doctor. And one night, I hope soon, you'll hear a new song played. You'll recall it, Doctor. It was once played in the Rhineland. Listen to it carefully, Doctor. And behind it you'll hear the voices of 130 million united people singing this song of freedom. I mean the anthem, Doctor. It takes its name from the flag of my country, a country which this time will be proud to fight. Well, that's all, Doctor. Take good care of yourself. Take very good care of yourself, Doctor. We'll be seeing you soon. Perhaps not this summer, perhaps not next fall or next winter, but sooner or later. And when we do see you, Doctor, we want you to be in very good health. Good night, Doctor.